So on these Tuesdays, we are featuring some staff members from the Ludwick Center as well as student leaders who can help us reflect on hope. And today we have three people that are going to be our panelists, and they are Destiny Dominguez, who is, she's waving at us. She is one of our ASULV senators and specifically working as a senator for transfer students, representing transfer students. And then we have Misty Levingston, if you'd like to wave, and she is Associate Director for Multicultural Affairs and Black Student Services. And then finally, Jim Brooks, if you want to wave, who is Director of the Abraham Campus Center and also International Advisor. And we're so glad all of you are here today to help us think about hope. So we know right now there's lots of reasons why we need to think about hope. We are living in a pandemic that is long and uncertain. We've had a very difficult and ongoing election season that's been stressful and divisive. We have a divided country. That election doesn't solve that. And it's been rife with conflict and fear. And we are a country who is needing to deal with our racial injustice, need to do some racial reckoning and healing with this history. So many reasons why we're here today to think about hope. So thank you all for being here. We're going to pose a few questions to our panelists. They're going to talk briefly on each of these questions, and then there'll be an opportunity for any of you to ask questions or to share your own sense of hope. Okay, so let's, why don't we plan on going in the order of, let's start with Destiny, and then Misty, and then Jim. We'll just go in that order each time. And the first question is, what is hope?
So to me, this is a kind of a hard question, but to me, hope is the belief that you can still do it, even if the odds are stacked up against you. It's believing in yourself to accomplish something that you may not think you're able to do. And it's knowing that there is another side to whatever you're going through at the moment. And it's finding worth of the struggle that you're going on to, that you're having right now. So it's just looking forward to something and believing in yourself that you can get there.
So hope to me is having a Black woman in the White House. Hope to me is, yes, Destiny. Hope to me is myself. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. And so I rise, I rise, I rise. Hope is seeing people come together during this crazy time where there's a lot of like racial and it's a pandemic. We have a lot of racial animosity. You still see people come together, and not just people, not just Black people. I went to Hope for me. I went to a peaceful demonstration, and to see just everybody together. It was so many different ethnicities, ages, all together for the greater good. That's hope to me.
Hope is described as an expectation or a desire for something to happen. And in the Bible, it's faith in God. For me, I think it's a timeline. My grandparents brought me into this world, brought my parents, and it's our past leading to the future and bettering what is capable for all individuals, the freedoms, the rights, and the love that we can share with each other. I think hope is something that is something that we pass on to other people, to our posterity.
Thank you all. And I just love how each of your responses are really naming different textures of what makes for hope. Thank you so much for that, the different lenses you just brought. So the next question, and again, we can go in the same order. Where are you seeing hope right now?
So for me, I'm seeing hope in my ULV community, especially within ASULV and with my professors. They have been absolutely awesome, and they've been continuing to look at the bright side of this whole situation, and looking into the future and what that holds for us. It's so easy in a time like this to think about the bad things and to think that nothing's going to get better and just kind of give up. But both ASULV as an organization and all of my professors that have been so lucky to have been pushing forward and looking at the brighter side and seeing over the hill and, you know, trying their hardest to let us know as students and, you know, as peers that there is hope and that we're all working towards a common goal of just normality and also just feeling comfortable with it, with ourselves.
I'm seeing hope in the children are the future. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. I literally am seeing the hope in my niece, my daughter, but my niece. I was on a we had to take one of my nieces goes to school in Texas, and we had to take her from California to Texas to drive her there. And my niece had a homework assignment. The younger niece had a homework assignment where they were talking about something. It had to do with like injustice. And my niece literally schooled the teacher. And I was like, yes, that is my niece. So I was so just proud and impressed with the fact that she was able to articulate how she felt about everything that was going on. I'm like, wow, these kids really are just amazing. And I don't know, like my daughter, I'm just so proud of like the things that she does and the things that she accomplishes. I'm like, this is awesome. So that's where I'm seeing hope. I'm also seeing hope in our students who, despite being in a pandemic, are so resilient. They show up. They are trying to think outside the box. You know, no one's ever, like, we've never had to go through this before. So for them to still be present and engaged is awesome.
I couldn't agree with you more. As I was thinking about hope this morning, that song came into my head, that children are the future and you teach them well. And I thought about all the students that we work with, that we are collegial with, and our colleagues in general. And it's in our community, it's our relationships, it's how we treat each other. If you asked me this same question last week, and thank goodness we didn't have it last week, I don't know that my answer could have been as solid as it is today. I think one of the funniest things on Twitter on Saturday was, "I'm not crying, you're crying." And that hit me so many times on Saturday when we finally found out the president-elect and the vice president-elect, who I'm so happy for. My dad always said before he passed away that he thought that a woman should be president because they would govern better and be more solid and thoughtful, and that wars wouldn't happen. And I couldn't agree more. And I'm hopeful for the future that this new administration, once we finally get there, will lead us to a brighter path. I'm hopeful that each of our connections lead to happiness. And I'm hopeful that we all are that missing link within each other.
Thank you, all three of you. As I'm listening to each of you, if people can put themselves on mute. Great. I'm just noticing how deeply we're all drawing on our connections for hope. In other words, like we are each other's hope. and whether we're talking about the connection with faculty or other students, or staff people's connections with younger people or kids. Anyway, I love what you said there at the end, Jim, that a hope for our connections to be this very strong piece of our lives. So as a final question to our panelists, and let's switch it up and just have a different order. I'm wondering if we could start with Misty, go to Jim, and then Destiny can have the final word on this one. How do you get hope back when you are struggling?
So these last, what has it been, 8 months? Has it been 8 months, 9 months, something? We've been out of like working from home for that long. And I'm also going back to school. I'm also in school right now. So I have a lot of work, and then I have a lot of school work, and like I really start, and then I'm like in this house constantly, like 24/7. So I'm like, oh my God, the walls are closing in on me. So how I get hope back is that I'll actually go to my parents' house. I need that connection. I know we're not supposed to get together, but they don't go nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. So I think we're good. We're not passing on any coronavirus. And I just need to be with my family. I'll have like my sister and her kids will come over, and my household will come over, and we'll just be together and just do our family thing, hang out, be silly, crack jokes, eat, and love on each other. And that's how I restore my hope.
Whenever I have a student that's going through some tumultuous times, I tell them to go outside and listen to the leaves talk to them. And I have a special place. I put my feet in a stream, or go get grounded in some way with dirt or water or what have you.
I don't want to eat anymore.
And that's where I find it. I find it in thoughts about my family from the past, my grandparents, like I've already talked about. I reclaim it through my children, my two little boys, that they can make me mad one minute and I just want to love them and squeeze them the next minute. And it's hope for the next morning that it's going to be brighter, that it might be raining, for goodness sakes, in California. It's those little things that I yearn for, that I look for, that I try to find pleasure in. That's how I get it back.
The way that I get back hope when I'm struggling is looking at what's going on everywhere. All three of us are touching on the topic of our new president-elect and our vice president-elect, and how amazing is that we can elect a female vice president, and a person of color. That's just so, and she was raised by a single mom, which I was, and I just identify with her so much. And it's just so amazing to see that there is hope in the world, even if you were brought up a certain way and you thought that wasn't able, just like little things that happen every week, little things that happen every day, just trying to find those stories and those connections that bring some kind of hope, bring some kind of I've got this, to the conversation, as well as find that closer to home. My friends have always been an inspiration. I'm closer to my friends and extended, classmates and stuff than I am to my family. So, finding things like seeing them go through this, seeing them go to class, to still get those A's, even though they're like cramped up in their room all day, that's hope, because I'm also in that. And if they can do it, I can do it. And yeah, that's how I get hope when I'm struggling, just trying to find the brighter side and find ways that people are also getting through things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. My goodness, I'm feeling built up by your expressions of hope, and I'm very grateful. So for the next maybe 9 minutes or so, we have an opportunity for people to either respond to something that any of the panelists said, or ask a question, or make your own comment about hope. And so you're welcome to put it in the chat or you're welcome to unmute yourself. At about 12:26 or 7, I'm going to I'll bring us to a close so that each of our panelists can say a final word. Okay. So if anyone wants to unmute or put something in the chat, please do. All right, so we have a few in the chat here from Evelyn. Thank you for this. My uncle who raised me had a stroke on June 25th and has been in a coma and unresponsive since. I'm so sorry, Evelyn. Due to this, school is honestly the least of my worries. I try so hard to focus on school, but it is really tough. I'm going to definitely use some of the advice. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Thank you. And Nancy, she says she's feeling hopeful. Thanks for everyone for being here and sharing. I feel the same way. I wonder, oh, go ahead if someone had something to say.
I find right now I'm guardedly optimistic because I'm so happy for the vote, but I'm scared to like full on just embrace it because I feel like it's going to be such a wild ride for these next couple months. So I do struggle with that a little bit. It's like I want to just celebrate, and it's just tempered because of what's happening. But I know it's the hope that I know that we're going to come through it on the other side, and this can happen and that can happen and it can throw all kinds of stuff. I know we're going to be okay in the end, but going through the process is sort of a roller coaster. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, I'm so thankful that just to see like Nevada and Arizona and the state, and Texas was almost there, that would have never voted for a Democrat, to see that they were like, you know, we're gonna flip because we can't stand the hate and the racism and the bigotry. That's what I'm hopeful for. People's minds are changing.
Mm-hmm.
One of our people in the audience I'm connected to by way of a past student worker of mine who was one of my favorites, and he came to me after he graduated and he said, you need to hire this person because they're a wonderful person, and he passed on hope, right, to this person. And I that's what I meant by community. It's everything is connected, and we are all part of one another. And I'm thankful that my ex-student worker came to me to introduce me to this person that's in our group listening right now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I want to acknowledge these great comments in the chat about the importance of our connection with nature and being outside, getting walks, feeling that air and sun on our face, walking in the rain, whatever it is. All of these are about connection, grounding, just appreciating the encouragement around that.
I took a lot of that for granted, coming from a Midwest state that's gloomy a lot of times. We have a lot of overcast, so we don't get the sunshine every day. They talk about, they've done research and found that we get less than 5 full days, 5 24-hour days of sunlight in the winter months. So to consider what that does to your body and what that does to your state of being, not being able to see the sunshine, feel it, and get that vitamin D, and just literally like experience that joy that nature can bring. So this is like really, I'm taking it in because I didn't have that before moving here. So I just appreciate those small things that I find hope in here that I didn't necessarily find hope in where I lived before coming to California. So just wanted to share that.
I love that image because like hope isn't some abstract thing. It's very grounded within our context, right? So hope depends upon our connections, and that includes the environment around us. So I'm just struck by that image that we need to look for the hope that is made possible with the connections we have in the location that we are. So thank you for that image.
I think everything we do is based on hope. Like, we don't know if tomorrow's going to come. We don't know if something could happen out the blue and tomorrow might not happen. So everything that we do is based on hope. I hope that in 5 years, X, Y, and Z. I hope that I'm done with this program and I'll be Dr. Misty Levingston in 3 years. That's not guaranteed. I hope that when I go on vacation, everything's going to be fine. So I just think that hope is like the basis of a lot of things that we do. Hope is the basis of the future, Jim. To piggyback off of what you said, you're like, it's forward thinking. It is. If you don't have hope, what do you have?
Yeah. You don't have hope. What do you have? There's a wonderful biblical text about that. Without hope, oh no, it's without vision, but it's a similar concept. Without vision, the people perish. Without hope, people perish. Final? Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Hope is the strength of a person's desire, is one of the quotes that I was looking up, and it's very true. It's a hope for a doctorate in 3 years. It's a desire for those things. It's a desire to have a connection with people. I keep going back to that, and I can't leave it. But it's definitely a search for something that you're lacking or that you want.
I just wanted to say that reading through the chat right now is giving me hope. The way that you guys are all a family gives me hope. And thank you for that. Just above sharing what hope is to you guys, just showing that you all are hope as well.
Yeah, I thank you, Destiny, for saying that, because we do need to see hope modeled around us, connection modeled. I need to see it, and we need to bring that to other people as well. And I feel so grateful that the Ludwick Center itself is feeling like a family or a connective tissue. So glad we can be a bit of that hope as well.
I sometimes get bogged down with 10,000 Zoom meetings. And then I'm like, but this is the only time we get to actually see people. So, Zoom meeting it is.
And Destiny, your family now. And the rest of you too that aren't normally here all the time, your family, for better or worse, you're stuck with us. So
I'm gonna hold you to that.
We're all here, truly. I mean, we're here for each other. And honestly, like, when you need to reach out and where to go, know that any one of us is here, like, just like we're here for each other. So all of you who aren't speaking and aren't writing, know that you can reach out to any of us, because we really are a family. We're what we've got. A little kooky, but.
So I want to invite any of the panelists who want to say just a final word before we close up.
Well, I'd like to invite us to invite everyone to our ancestral healing event that we're having on the 19th at 7 o'clock. It'll be great. Come on. Oh, and we're having a Native American storyteller on Thursday at 4. Come on. It'll be great. And hope is beautiful.
Thank you, Misty.
Show other people's acceptance, show other people appreciation, and show them that they deserve happiness.
Thank you, Jim.
Again, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for sharing what hope means to you. I know going into this, I was like, I have hope. And then, of course, standing here now, I'm just like, wow, there's so much to take in, and especially what Alexandra said about realizing now what you have and, not taking things for granted. Just thank you so much for giving me that sense of hope.
So the thing that's staying in my mind right now is this, maybe the definition that Jim brought us, that hope has something to do with this desire or this yearning. And let's help each other be able to feel that desire come to fulfillment. Because we need opportunities where it's our desires and our yearnings are actually have a place to go, have a resolution even as it continues. And I think what all of you have pointed out is it is us that provide that resolution and ongoing. It allows our desires to land at times. We do that for each other. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And we will be back next week, Tuesday, for a half hour at noon for another time to just ponder hope with some other staff, people, and student leader.